My name is Cameron. I'm a personal trainer here at Mode, and today we have Brent Mikesell. So thanks for being on, Brent.
Yeah, of course.
Brent, just a little bit about Brent. He used to hold the world record in squat at 1,140 pounds. Is that correct?
41. Who cares?
1141.
Yeah,
there we go.
Gotta add one.
That's right. I mean, hey, those pounds are important. That's how you break records,
That's
okay?
right.
Is by pound.
Just saying.
But I wanted to first start off how I first heard about you. It was really funny. My brother-in-law, Emil, we were talking, this might have been in like 2018, and he's like, my math teacher at CEV used to hold the world record in squat. And I was like, oh yeah, he did? Okay. Yeah. I mean, because you hear that all the time, right. Like, you know, my nephew deadlifted 800. And
he's
like,
bigger than you.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, back in high school, I could bench 225 50 times. You're like, oh, the NFL Combine record, you know? It's like we all hear those stories all the time. And so I was like, okay, buddy, what's his name? And he's like, Brent Mikesell. And so I looked you up on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I saw the video and I was like, this is your math teacher? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so this is the first time it actually turned out to be true. And he's like, and then his son, he's in my grade, and he deadlifted 700. And I was like...
At 16, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to doubt him, but I was like, okay, so we're 1 for 1 on my brother-in-law being accurate with his crazy, strong math teacher. So I looked him up, and sure enough, raw in a powerlifting meet, powerlifting standards, 16 years old, deadlifted 700 pounds. And I was like...
And that's on a stiff bar.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody here knows what a stiff bar is, but
yeah, much harder than an actual deadlift bar, where it has all the whip.
Right.
So I was like, okay, wow, these guys are the real deal.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was how I first heard about you.
Small world, right?
Yeah. But how did you first get into powerlifting, and what age?
Well, let's see. I was a junior in high school, so I would, 15, 16, started just in weights class, and we had a football coach that was really into powerlifting. That was a powerlifting background. And back in the 80s, there wasn't such an emphasis on speed like there is now. And so, you know, the strongest guys typically dominated. So we had a really good weight program, and that got me into it, lifting. And then I found out later there was some high school meets. And so I started doing those, and I did really well in those. And then I just decided, hey, you know, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah.
And as I left high school football and college football, I liked it more. So my passion switched from sports to that.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And I never, ever, ever thought I would be world class. Never. That was never in the cards. Never my goal. It just literally happened. Just took off.
Yeah. Were there any powerlifters that you were watching or looked up to at the time?
Yeah, Eddie Cohn, without a doubt, was like the man in the mid 80s, early 90s. And so I was really following him, and Kurt Karwoski. And then Hideaki and Naba. Those are probably the top 3 squatters in the world. And Steve Goggins, who ended up, that's a long story, but ended up being the first guy to squat 1,100, even though I don't think it was legit. But it doesn't matter, because if that comes out, his whole camp will call me a crybaby again. So anyways, it's water under the bridge. It was 20 years ago. But yeah, those guys I looked up to, and those are, in my mind, back in the day, those were the best powerlifters. Now you got a whole new breed of guys coming up that are just unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about before this, Colton Engelbrett.
Yes.
Is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, first guy to deadlift and squat 1,000 pounds in the same meet.
Insane.
Oh, yeah.
And what is he, like 240?
Yeah, I think he competes in the 265 class.
265, okay.
So
that's still incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and raw. I don't know if listeners know the difference between raw and multiply and gears. It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, could you explain that, what that means really?
Yeah. So in the 80s, a guy named John Inzer came up with this idea to put a shirt on to increase your bench press. And so it took off, and so guys were starting to wear it. And at the time, there was no raw or gear, and that shirt worked tremendously. Well, then it came out to be squat suits and deadlift suits. They're basically like a really super tight singlet that allows you to do more weight, and the bench shirt's kind of the same way. So that's called gear or multiply, and there's different thicknesses and layers of material you can put on that allow you to do more weight. And then raw just means all you get is either knee wraps or knee sleeves and wrist wraps, and that's it. And the theory is, a lot of people are like, well, how does a tight shirt help you bench press? Well, I try to say, okay, look, what kind of species and animals have exoskeletons? It's like spiders and ants. Why are they so strong pound for pound? Because that exoskeleton allows their muscles to push out against something. Like if you pushed off a wall against, like if your back's against a wall, you're way stronger than you are just pushing against air.
Yeah.
And so
true.
a super tight compressive shirt and suit allows you to push off and use more weight.
Okay, interesting. That is a good way to think about it. Now, did you have a preference on how you liked to lift, like with a suit, without a suit?
Well, in the 80s and 90s and then the early 2000s, everybody was chasing the big number. There was no raw category. So if you lifted raw, you got smoked.
Oh,
so
okay,
everybody had to wear gear. But the problem with it is the gear got better, and the weight started going up. The judging got looser and looser, and then I found guys were cheating.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I retired. And I'm not going to call anybody out, but a lot of guys were putting like towels underneath their bench shirts. And what that does is it allows you to wear a tighter shirt and allows you to bench press more. So I could, theoretically, if we both go in T-shirts, I could be stronger than this guy, but in a meet, because he's using a T-shirt with a towel underneath it, he can get a 100 or 200 pound advantage over me. It's like the strongest guy's not winning anymore.
Yeah.
So powerlifting just became this bastardized thing of like, who can spend the most money on the most amount of gear? And then you see this backlash. Like in the early 2000s, people were sick of it. And now 95% of the lifters are raw now because they want the strongest guy to win.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I grew up watching was raw powerlifting. And to me, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I think that some of the equip stuff is cool as well. But the equip stuff that I see now is, I don't know the guy's name, and I don't even know that I'd say it if I did, but I saw this guy a few weeks ago or months ago do a squat, and he went like 3 inches down, and it was white lighted. It was given the go. It was good. And I was like, that was a 3-inch squat.
Yeah, and you know, that's what ruins the sport. And it happens. And that's one thing about the sport of powerlifting that is really difficult is no one wants to be a judge or an official. I mean, look at the NBA, and no one wants to do that job. Well, powerlifting's no different. And as many people who criticize the USAPL, which is probably the biggest organization in the world, it's the strictest.
Yes.
And I actually like it that way because you don't get away with this crap where guys are squatting 3 inches down. And because it can be hundreds of pounds of difference. And that was one of the reasons why I retired, besides needing to be more with my family, is just the judging got out of hand, and the amount of gear that you were using and the amount of money it cost to do that. It's just, a squat suit was $400. And this is 20 years ago. I don't know what it is now. And then the bench shirts were $300-$400. And then you got to travel and you got hotel and, it's insane.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, you're not making millions like
no,
an NFL
not
player
even
or
close.
something.
And there was no Instagram or TikTok back then to make generate some money off the side. There was none of that. It was just like, here you go, man. This is it.
Yep. Pay for your hotel, probably. Pay to compete. Yeah. Now, when you were in college playing football, did you also compete in any powerlifting meets, or was that you took a break?
I think I had time to do one. No, I take that back. I was training to do my first one in college, and it was my sophomore year. And right before we had a spring ball game, and literally a week before that meet, I dislocated my knee, and that sucked. And so I wasn't able to do that meet. So I didn't compete again. I did a couple of meets in high school. I didn't compete again until like the end of my college career, and then I took years and years off again, and started in my late 20s. I was a late bloomer. I didn't have time, I was in college, and then I got married and had kids, and it was like, and then it just happened.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you were to say what some of your best lifts were, whether it's for reps or for maxes, ones that you're most proud of in your career, what would some of those be?
Definitely squat would be when the world record was 1141. But I did 10:10 was my official first time breaking the world record. And then I took it from 10:10 over a 3-year period over a 2-year period to 1141. And then that stayed for another year. So I had the world record for 3 years. To be super technical, I did not squat 1100 first. I was the second guy to do it. I was the first guy to attempt it multiple times and didn't get it. But I was misloaded at the Arnold. And I've competed for 40 years, never been misloaded, and that was the first time I was misloaded. They put 1146 on the bar, and I only wanted 1078, and they misloaded it all on one leg. And it ended up tearing up my leg really bad. So anyways, 1141 in the squat, definitely. My best bench was 622. That was in a shirt. I don't, I never back then. I never maxed raw because I never had time. We didn't train that way. I'm thinking that I probably could have done a 500 in a t-shirt. Would have been tough, but I think I could have done it.
Yeah.
Deadlift, I did an 860 in the gym, and that was after doing a 700 for 5 in a box squat. So and my problem is, you guys probably see this on camera, I don't have a finger here. It's missing. So it's not like strongman. We have to be able to hold that bar without a strap.
Yes.
So I can pull 860, maybe even 880, but I can't in a meet. So I'm always in the high sevens, like 755, 770, 782. I think I only pulled 804, 810, maybe 3 or 4 times my whole career. So, but when those two 800-pound deadlifts I did were one of my favorite because it was the first time and so many times I can't tell you how many times I dropped a bar because of this and tore my hand. And then, also just being 58, I just broke the world record, did a 755 deadlift now at my age. And then I did 777 at the end of June, literally had it locked out, waited for the down signal, and before I got it, my hand tore. And as it was tearing, my fingers were opening up, and the bar was starting to tilt, and they gave me red lights. Literally half a second. If they would have given me a half a second sooner, I would have got it, but it didn't count. So I really want to pull 800, and that's why I went down to Mexico to do the stem cells to try and heal my body up. But
okay,
we'll see.
Okay, man. I mean, it's so crazy to me. 755 and then over 770 at 58 years old.
Yeah.
Raw. And when you did that 755, it moved good.
It was
really good.
It was a 3-second deadlift. I mean, I timed it out on video. It's bam, 3. It's like, wow. And that's what I need to be able to hold it. Because I can, if a normal guy that has all fingers, you can grind maybe 5 or 6 seconds. That's normal. But for me, if I don't do it in like 3.5, I know I'm not going to be able to hold it.
Yeah. It just shows your grip must be pretty strong on that hand to be able to hold that way with 3 fingers. I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah. I'm working on it even more.
Yeah. Now, what would be some basic tips that you would give someone who's just looking to get into strength training?
Well, I've always said surround yourself with successful people, whether it's be business or lifting. So, when I first started, when I was competing, we had a bunch of guys coming up from Pullman lifting with me. And one of them was AJ Roberts, who went on to beat all my records, and he's super successful now, and he's down in San Diego. I would say, and the point of that was that he surrounded himself with successful people, and he went on to be successful. So I would say, find someone who's doing what you want to do really well, and hang around with them and learn from them, and then be able to work really, really hard. Because so many kids today, being a teacher for 34 years, they want shortcuts. They want to buy stuff. They think by buying something's going to make them stronger. They want to buy all the equipment. They want to buy all the supplements, and that'll make me stronger, right? No, it's hard work, and it's being with people who know what they're doing. So surround yourself with successful people, work super hard, and then don't be afraid to learn, because even at my age, I have my son, hey, Dad, I noticed you're doing this. And that's those little visual cues and things that you learn from are super important. So I still learn today, like little things like, I never even thought of that, And so never be afraid to learn and take tips from people that know what they're talking about. And sometimes you have to filter it out. Sometimes it's really good. But and I'd say the last thing would be, as you progress from a beginner to an elite, you'll notice that you really need to perfect technique. Technique becomes very, like Olympic lifters, same thing, where when you first begin, the gains are super awesome, and you can just do about anything wrong and you're still going to make gains.
Yep.
But as you get to that point, you have to learn how to grind, and you have to learn how to get through technique. And technique, one little tiny thing is the difference between getting a lift and not.
Yes. Yeah, it's the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you go play soccer once a week and you don't play soccer, you're going to get a lot better. Yeah. But eventually you're going to get to the point where, like, if you're doing one practice a week, you're going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like top players in the world, they get worse at that. And so you got to do everything right.
Yeah.
Where you bring it down to your chest, the amount of volume or intensity you're doing, everything's got to be really dialed in. I mean, it's like that really with any elite sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's funny is you were bringing up like the quick fixes. One of the most common questions I get asked is, what type of protein do you use? Or like
number one, do you use creatine?
Yes, that was the number 2.
Yeah.
Is what type of creatine do you use?
Yeah.
And I had a guy the other day talk to me about like adjusting supplements and like, oh, here, will this help me? And I just went on this long rant, which I don't normally do, but I was like, listen, man, the reason that I've lifted, I just use myself as an example because him and I are good friends. As I started lifting 16 years ago, and it's a grind. You know, it's not, the creatine's not going to change your life, even if it helps. What type of protein powder is not going to remotely change your life. Yeah. But like, if you do things right for 16 years, there's just no way. Right. And for you, it's, I mean, how many years at this point?
42.
Yeah, 42 years. I mean, so...
It's a grind, yeah.
Yeah, there's not quick fixes in lifting unless you just got hit with the absolute genetic lottery. And
and that was not me. I don't know about you, but not me.
Not me, no.
No.
No, I mean, you might have given a little bit to your son somehow. You're like, I won't hit the genetic lottery. I'll get it from hard work. Now, obviously, I know your son works really hard. I've seen him. Yeah. But, man, that's...
Whew. You got something. I don't know. It's probably his mom.
Yeah. His mom's really the one. Does your wife, does she compete in anything?
She does not, but she's my biggest supporter. So, yeah, I mean... And it was tough, anybody that wants to be an elite athlete and be married and have kids, there's a sacrifice there. And it took a toll on my marriage and as being a dad. And that was one of the reasons why I retired in 2003. I walked away and I was on top at the time. People were like, hey man, you did 1141. You got to be the first guy to do 1200 now. And I really wanted that goal. I mean, I can't tell you how bad I wanted that. And if I could do that with an 800-pound squat and a 650 bench, that would give me the highest total of all time at that point. And I'm like, I know I can do this. But then I come home and see the look on my wife's eyes, and my kid's like, hey, Dad, where you been? It's like, I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. I literally couldn't do it. And I walked away at the top. And, yeah, there's days I regret it, but I look and go, I needed to save my marriage and my kids, and I think I made the right decision. 100%. So yeah, it's way more important than records and what you do in the gym. Oh yeah,
100%. Yeah, I mean, this is something I'm kind of not quite where you're at, not the top of the world in my sport. I took 10th last year in the world, but it's a lot of sacrifice, and I have a lot of those same thoughts. Like, how much longer should I keep going? Because at the end of the day, if you hold a world record or you're a good father and a good husband, if you have to choose between those, it's like, the answer should be obvious.
It should be.
But man, it's hard to be like, oh, I can have both. Yeah. And maybe some people have the time and ability, but it's like, if you're working and doing those things, it's hard.
Independently wealthy, you could do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you've been an athlete, so it's like, well, you are. I mean, I'm thinking of high school here. But like, you miss the roar of the crowd, you miss the competition, and I can't tell you, the first time I dunked 1,000 at the Arnold Classic in front of 2,000 people, it was like the gladiator crowd. It's like, yeah. It's like this, it's just, and then the roar of the crowd in a football game when you're playing in front of 50,000. It's just amazing, and you miss that. I mean, people who have never competed or never been on stage probably don't understand. It's euphoric, and to just go, oh, I don't want this anymore. Man, it's so hard to walk away.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Hey, switching gears just a little bit, I wanted to ask, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making, specifically with strength training?
Number one's bad form. Sacrificing weight with bad form.
Yeah.
Like either squatting too low. Definitely bad. I would just say bad form. I mean, you could go on and on about different rants. What else? Shortcuts. Like I said, I was trying to buy stuff instead of working hard.
Yeah. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. One that I've seen a lot is I see, especially younger guys in high school, max bench pressing like twice a week.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an important pet peeve I have. Is people always ask me, will you write out a program for me? It's not the program, dude. It's what you're doing with it and how often you do it and what you're putting into it. And that's the way these kids train is they come in and they max. They do a max squat and they think that's training. That is not training.
Yeah.
That's testing yourself every week. And at 18 it feels, I'm fine. I'm going to tell you that's going to catch up to you eventually. You cannot do that. And your gains will probably be a little bit at the beginning and then it just dies out. And you're absolutely right. I see more kids doing that now, just maxing, not training.
Yeah. I remember like my freshman year, I think I maxed probably like once every 3 weeks, which is less than some, but still way too much, but it was like, that's what was fun. And it took like a few years, more like my junior year, where I finally realized, don't need to be maxing so often, because maxing, like you said, it's a good test of strength. not a great builder of strength.
No. Yeah, huge difference. I don't think kids get that.
Well, I wanted to get in some rapid fire questions, some some fun ones. So, any pre-lift rituals or superstitions, either current or when you were at the top?
Yeah, I have one, and it started with football. We were playing a game against Idaho. It was it was in Missoula at our stadium, and we had just opened the stadium, and we had a linebacker that I played with. His name was Dominic Cooks. His nickname was Cookie. And they're playing the national anthem. I look over at him. He's just, excuse me, he's crying. I'm like, dude, what's up? And he's, when the national anthem's over, of course. I'm like, what? And we're getting our helmets on. We're getting ready to go. I go, what was that all about? And he goes, dude. He goes, the way I look at football, this is war. And then he goes, every time that national anthem plays, I think about someone murdering my parents. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. So I'm like, and he goes, it just turns him into this emotional, crazy guy to go on and he just did phenomenal, crazy things. And I'm like, okay, I can't do that. But yeah, I always have kind of a thing where I got to put in my head where I imagine like part of my family missing or not having my family. And that just, it just sets this fire off of me and just pisses me off. Because I'm naturally just a really super laid back guy. It takes a lot to light a fire under me, and I need that. But I'm not like a foot stomper, a face slapper. I don't need nose torque, and I used to use I don't need it anymore. Yeah. I just do my thing, and I got criticized back in the day by this writer for this magazine. Said Brent Mikesell always looks sleepy when he lifts. I'm not one of those guys that needs to, because there's nothing more embarrassing than jumping, hollering, hooting, slapping your face, and run, bang your head on the bar, and then miss. Everyone's like, oh, that was a waste of effort.
Yeah.
So that would be my ritual. It's just kind of imagining part of my family being taken away from me, and just finding that inner drive to do something like go to war.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I've talked to a few other guys. Like it's the same thing. Like whenever I'm about to go do a heavy deadlift, heavy squat, heavy bench, I'll think some pretty dark things that I won't say, but I think some pretty dark things just to get me in the zone. For me, I'm a super mental lifter. Like my mindset makes such a big difference.
It does.
Like the biggest difference. And I mean, it sounds like you might be the same, where like you don't want to go too crazy. You mainly want to focus, more on the weight, and so your mental state does make a good difference. Yeah,
a comment on that is, I mentioned earlier, I was the first guy to attempt 1100 so many times, and I remember being up in Canada once. I had missed it like 3 or 4 times over 3 to 4 different meets, and it was a mental thing for me. And my training partner was wrapping my knees at the time, getting ready to do the attempt. And I was going for 1103, and he looks me in the eyes. He never said this to me before, and he goes, Brent, you got to stop being scared of the weight. And he just put his head back down and starts wrapping my knees, and I'm like, he's right. That is exactly why I'm missing this. It's not because I'm not strong enough. I'm scared of it because I was afraid I was going to get hurt. I mean, when you're attempting something that no one in the world has ever done, the mind blow is just like, I don't know if I can do this. I said, that's it. I'm done being scared. There's people here that will protect me if I fail. And it went up. It was the first time I ever did it. And that attitude makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
When you're doing something that nobody's ever done before, it's because it can mess with your head really easy.
Yeah, that must be a pretty crazy feeling, doing something that no one's ever done. I mean, man, I would like to know what that's like. Unfortunately, I don't, but man, that is crazy.
You might get there. You might.
Goals. I still got at least 10 years maybe to keep going for it. Do you have any embarrassing gym fails or embarrassing gym experiences?
Yeah. One time I was trying to do Kurt Kowalski was one of the only guys I've ever seen do 1,000-pound double squat. And I was getting ready to do my first 1,100. So I've announced it on the web. I was going to do 1,100 double this night. And we go out, and my training partner thinks I'm doing one in a monolift. I don't know if anybody knows what a monolift is, but it's an attachment that swings out so you don't have to walk the bar out. Well, I go down and up for one, and I'm on the way down for two, and he thinks I'm done at one, and he swings the bar back. And I already had come up, and so now it's hard to explain without anybody seeing it, is the attachment for me to put the bar back in is behind me, and I'm standing up straight. There's no way to back up because it's in the way. And so the whole gym's watching this. I had to literally just dump 1,000 off my back and just and actually I got kicked out of the gym after that. Yeah, but I had to do it because it was going to crush me and it was going to hurt all the people that were there with me.
Yeah.
And he felt so bad because he thought I was doing one. I said, dude, everybody in the world knows I was going for 2 tonight. And he forgot.
Oh,
so yeah, it was really embarrassing. It was a massive gym fail. Yeah.
Dang. Man, yeah, dumping 1,000 or 1,100. Yeah, that's.
And then another fail would be before we had this monolith, we'd squat out of just a normal rack, and I put it in to put the rack in. I think it was like 950 or something. I don't remember what it was. The bar, it was a normal bar. It was just bending like crazy. It was bending so much I couldn't get it in, so I tipped to the right, then tipped to the left, and as I come down, the bar landed on this part of my hand and just split it all the way back. And I mean, I took 6 stitches to close it up, and I never thought how much fat is in your hand, and you can see little pieces of fat come. It's just so gross. It's like, it's just blood spraying everywhere. I'm like,
oh man, yeah,
massive gym fail.
Yeah, definitely a massive gym. Yeah, definitely things that would end up on video compilations.
Yeah,
today,
exactly,
for sure.
I can't think of any others, but those are probably the biggest 2.
Yeah, that's fine. That answers my next one, which was kind of tied to that one. Any crazy gym injuries? And I was like, oh, looks like that's one of them at least. Yeah,
definitely that. Blowing my back out. I mean, I blew my back out, believe it or not, changing a tire. This was like 7 or 8 years ago when I was pulling at the time around high 7s, like 780, 790, somewhere around there, almost 800. And my son was supposed to help me change this tire, and he had a friend come over that day, and I said, well, I'll just change it myself. And I don't know what it was. Obviously, I was already injured, and I didn't know it. And I just bent over and picked this tire up, and I felt something on my back pop. I'm like, oh, that isn't good, man. Well, I finish it, and I have the meet like 4 days later. I drive to Missoula to do this meet, and I pulled, I don't remember what it was that day. I think it was 755, and I was disappointed because I knew I could do more. And I remember when I was done, I sat down and I go, this is it. I'm not going to be able to walk. And I drove home, and then when I got home, I had this baseball on my back, and I knew it was serious. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 or 4 days. My son had to literally lift me out of bed so I could go to the bathroom and go to work. I was so bad. 2 months later, I could not do a 135 rack pull from my knees. 135 pounds. That's how weak I was.
Dang.
And then still recovered from that, and then here I am later, almost still doing 800 again. So it's whatever I did back then was bad, but that's probably one of the worst injuries I've had, besides the splitting open my hand. But
yeah. What do you think about? I hear this a lot. Whereas, oh, you lift heavy now, you just wait. You're going to pay for it later. You're going to be destroyed. And I'm like, I use you as an example now, where I'm like, listen, I know that you obviously, like hips and knees could be better, but I feel like it could be like that for anybody who's 58.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're deadlifting nearly 800 pounds at 58. You're still squatting. I still see you lifting hard.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
My theory of life is if you don't move, you die. And yeah, okay, I am definitely have some joint damage. I'm going to have some issues. We were talking before the podcast. I don't want to walk like John Cena.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I get out of a couch like that if I've sat there till I look like that. And then 3 or 4 steps. Okay, I'm fine. But I would rather have that than to sit on a couch and not move and then have no leg strength. I mean, there's tons of research that says as your leg strength grows, it's a cause of dementia and a cause of physical obesity. That's the number one thing as you age is legs, because people don't like to train their legs. It takes work.
Yeah.
And people don't like that word.
Yeah, nope.
No, that's what you call it. I want to buy it.
Yeah, I think squatting is probably one of the scariest lifts for most people. I know a lot of guys who like to lift. But they go to the gym all the time and they don't squat.
No.
Oh, it's for my knees or whatever
back.
Else. I'm like, dude, you're scared of the weight. It's okay.
Yeah. And maybe you have a bad back because you don't squat.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, squatting is also my favorite lift. Unfortunately, I don't know that I'll ever squat what you do, but it's my favorite lift. And I think part of it is because it is so mentally tough, and you have to grind through it because it's on your back and you're going down with that weight.
Yeah.
And if you miss it, that's scary. It's like when you miss a deadlift, you're picking it up and it doesn't go. Oh, you just drop it.
Falls on the ground.
And usually if you're benching, you'll have a spot and it's pretty simple. But man, feeling that weight on your back,
it can be pretty daunting. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah. What is the worst piece of gym advice that you've ever heard or received?
Gosh, I don't know if I can figure that one out. Well, I can tell you the best or the nicest. I'll flip it and then
Let's
maybe
go.
maybe we'll,
Yeah,
so I
let's
was
go.
doing a meet down in Idaho Falls. I did an 804 squat, and that's raw. The suit that I had, well, it was called a Z suit. It would be considered a raw suit today. It hadn't, I mean, you made me get 5-10 pounds out of it. Wrap my knees. And there was a guy there named Ernie France who was a legend back in the days, and at the time everybody knew who he was. He had a huge gym in Illinois and trained a ton of powerlifters that were world class. And he came up to me when he got done and he goes, "You're going to be the best squatter in the world." And I'm sitting there going, huh? I'm looking around the room like, did he just say that? And there's no one around. And I was like, what? And I knew who he was. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I go, dude, you got me mixed up. No, he's like, I'm not kidding you. He goes, you will break Eddie Cohn's record. And I just looked at him dumbfounded with my mouth. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, you get the right suit, because remember back in the day, everybody was buying. So I bought one of his suits, and he goes, you got to move your stance out. Well, they call it a sumo squat, right? So I don't do like a narrow squat. I go super wide. I used to. I don't anymore, because when you lift raw, you can't.
Yeah.
But you can go a lot wider with gear, because it just gives you so much support in the crotch and through your midsection. And so I did what he said. Again, that's good gym advice. And then and then just listened to his compliment. And he said, "You'll be the best squatter in the world." And 2 years later, I dunked the grand, and I broke Eddie's record. I'm like, he knew what I don't know what he saw in me, but someone telling me that, and then making that slight little adjustment about moving my feet out and doing what everybody, I was like, it changed everything. Had I not met him and gone to that meet, I probably never ever would have broke the record and never ever would have been sitting here.
Dang.
Isn't that crazy?
That is pretty crazy. Yeah, I wonder what he did see.
I don't know.
I mean, he just saw this like behemoth of a man, and he was like, "Well, I bet he'll do."
Yeah, how do you pick something out like that? I mean, I don't know. It was the craziest thing.
That's cool. I'll tell you, this isn't necessarily gym advice, but health advice. The ones that I commonly hear are all, you have to do this diet. Just fill the blank with whatever diet. Those are the ones I hear a lot, where you have to do carnivore. You need to do keto. Right. How I lost this weight or got this strong? You need to do this diet. Right. And so much of it, to me, is just garbage. It's like, you can do the diet. I'm sure, all of them seem to work, but it's not like religion where you're like, hey, man, this is the one that's going to save you. Yeah, right. This is the diet. To me, I think, you eat well-rounded. Yeah. You eat well. You eat for your goals, whether it's weight loss, gain, or weight gain, which might sound weird to some people, but if you're in powerlifting and you want to lift more weight, you gain weight. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be best, really.
And maybe an argument could be made in what you're saying if you were a world-class bodybuilder, because their diet's probably 80-90% of what they do. But powerlifting and strongman, no. Yeah. I mean, I've always said in interviews I've done before, like, hey, what diet are you on? I'm on the seafood diet. I see food and I eat it.
Yes.
It's like, that's just what I do. I love food. I'm not going to modify my diet and I don't use any protein supplements. I don't use creatine. I eat good, and I eat a lot, and it is what it is. And it just takes care of itself.
Yeah. I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. People want quick fixes. Mm-hmm. And so when you throw out this, like, hey, this is what you need to do X. This is what's been missing your whole life.
Right.
That's the reason you are where you're at. It's not because of your choices. It's not because of bad habits. It's not because you haven't dedicated your life. It's because of this right here. And you're like, okay. Yeah. I see that a lot. And it's really sad, because a lot of people, it's not in their world. Because you can't know everything about everything. It's like, usually you can get really good at maybe one or two things. But, you get taken advantage of when you don't know something.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot.
I do too. Yeah, now that you say that.
If you could challenge one gym myth in a televised debate, which myth would you choose?
Gym myth?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Like, are powerlifters stronger than strongman? So I would want to challenge a strongman, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's what would happen. I guarantee you. We could do a squat, and bench, and a deadlift with no straps, and I would probably win all three of those events. But we could go to the strongman events, and I would get destroyed.
Yeah.
Because strength is about perfecting the movement that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And sure, there's a debate for overall strength. Overall strength, what is that? It depends on how you measure it. See, if you measure it in strongman, I'm going to lose that debate. If you're measuring in powerlifting, because very few, if any, strongmen bench press.
Yeah.
Now, overhead press, I would get absolutely destroyed, and I know that. I could probably compete with any strongman squatting, or if not beat all of them, and I think I can compete with anyone deadlifting, even at my age now. Well, when I say anyone, I mean anyone my age, not the open guys. But
yeah.
I want to clarify that. I don't want people to go, oh, really?
Hey, Mitchell Hooper, come on,
yeah, exactly.
half Thor.
Yeah, no, that's not what I mean. But yeah, so that's probably what I would want to do. Or it could be fun to be like, we were talking about this earlier, like challenge a few NFL players to a powerlifting meet. Like, you guys say you're so strong, let's see how strong you really are. And I think we'd all be surprised. I wouldn't, but I think the general public would be, is that so many of them, I don't think they're as strong as we think they are, which, I don't know, maybe that sounds bad, but I don't think they can do the true maxing that powerlifters can. Yeah, they're strong. I mean, remember the wide receiver for the Seahawks back in Joey Galloway, they say he could bench press 400 pounds for a wide receiver. That's incredible.
Well, that's insane for a wide
Metcalf,
receiver.
I think, could probably do 400, but how many guys in the NFL can do 400? I don't know. There's probably a handful of them that can bench 500, but there sure is not a lot of guys that can squat or deadlift over 7.
Yeah.
No way. It's just no.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Like, have some NFL players, go do a powerlifting meet. Yeah, that'd be really interesting because, like we were talking about, they don't train specifically to max.
No.
So it wouldn't be necessarily in their wheelhouse, but they're genetic freaks. So it'd be interesting to see, like, how far could they go? That'd be cool.
Yeah. And I remember back in the day, there was a guy named Bill Gillespie who was the strength coach for the Seahawks. I don't remember what year it was. I'm going to say the early 2000s. And he called me one summer and said, hey, I'm out here in Cheney with the Seahawks. I want to get a bench press workout with you. So we went up to Gold's Gym on the South Hill and worked out together. And he was telling me about, back then it was just transitioning from pure strength to more speed. And it was driving him crazy because he was not built. He grew up like I did. Like, you think about the University of Washington Huskies, I think it was 91 or whatever year it was, they won the national title. They were the strongest team in the country. And they just dominated with strength. And learning that from Bill, watching him, he's like, a lot of these guys that I train on this team are not like super strong. We'll put 315 on the bar and we just go out for reps. We'll do 275 or 225 in the bench, we do for reps. We don't want anybody getting hurt because if they get hurt, they can't play. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, that's a fair point. But what are you doing in the off season then? I don't know the answer to that, but
yeah, going back to the strongman powerlifters, it makes me think, powerlifting, you have 3 exercises, squat, bench, deadlift, that you compete in.
Sure.
Generally in strongman, your competition will have 5 to 8 events. Okay. And there's so many events in strongman, you usually have to get good at least, like, I would say maybe 7, 8 basic events. And then there's tons of variations of all those events. So it can basically be infinite. But if you were to choose a competition that included 5 lifts and you wanted to find the strongest human in the world, what would be the 5 lifts? I'm assuming maybe 3 of them would be the powerlifting lifts.
Definitely those 3. And then I would say, I'm not a fan of things that involve speed. To me, that's not strength. I mean, it's different kind of strength. So anything that involves a timer on it, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
So you give me something like, it would definitely have to be some kind of overhead lift.
Yeah.
I just 100%, even though we have a bench press, I think, and then I would like to see some other kind of either pulling, dragging, pushing event. I don't know what that would be. Because if we already had the squat and we had the bench press, overhead, and then a deadlift, I was going to say stones because I've always thought stone lift is cool. But again, I hate the timer. I just want to take the timer off and just if the guy gets it or not, whether this guy does it faster or not, it's the same to me.
Yeah, I think they've done it a couple times with a max stone. So is that what you're saying? Like a max weight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something that's just like crazy. It doesn't even involve a bar, because all the other ones I said had a bar in it. Just give me something that doesn't have a bar and something that's a little more functional. But there's so many different things. Like people would argue, like, okay, if you're taller and with longer arms, it's more of an advantage in a stone. Well, okay, but it's a disadvantage if you're squat. You got a deeper to get. I don't know how it was. So it's really hard to measure strength. That's why you need a whole, collage of different things.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm just not a fan of movements over speed, and I think. Unfortunately, the people who watch strongman love that. And that's
Yeah.
what's made it popular, is because powerlifting is a very boring sport to watch. It's the same thing, squat, squat. But you see two guys running at it, where they're running and they're moving stuff, and then it's on a timer. Because people freak out over timers. It's like, oh my God, and they love that. And it makes it interesting to watch. It's boring as a powerlifter. So, but I don't think that truly tells me who the strongest guy is. I'm more of a pure guy. I want max on everything.
Yeah, no, I think by definition, max of a movement would find the strongest. Like a 1-rep squat would be better to find the strongest rather than the 5-rep test. And,
Right.
And same with stones. The other event that maybe could be like a 6th event in there that I really like is a max yoke. Have you ever done the yoke before?
I've never done it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because you can have Brian Shaw, I think his best somewhere around there was like 1,500. But he could have done a lot more. When he did his 1,500, it was at the Arnold, and just no one else could do it, so he was done.
Yeah, so he didn't need to go anymore. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, how strong do you have to have that on your back and just walk? And he did it unbroken, meaning he didn't set it down in the course. He went the whole course, even though they were allowed to set it down if they needed to. He didn't. And so you take someone like that, and I'm like, well, that guy's stronger than that guy. Because look, he just walked 1,500 pounds.
Right.
But then obviously there's other tests of strength. But to me, I'm like, man, a max yoke.
It is cool, yeah. And the thing that I don't think people would understand is I squatted 1141. He put 1,500 pounds on your back. I guarantee you cannot breathe. And people don't understand that. Like trying to take a breath with that kind of weight on your back is like, there isn't one. You better get one before you go, because you're not getting one after that. And if you can, it's this weird hiccuping kind of to get your breath. It's crazy sick.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine having 1140. The heaviest weight I've ever had on my back was 915 pounds for a yoke, and it was a max yoke, unbroken, 20 feet.
Oh wow.
And when that was on my back, I felt my soul leave my body.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah, just like you were saying, like breathing is so tough. Like it's near impossible at 915. So yeah, I couldn't imagine 230 more pounds.
Yeah.
Like
the first time I broke Eddie's record when I did the 1010, it was up in Canada. And I didn't understand this breathing thing because I never had that kind of weight in my back. I took a little short breath, and I take it off the bar and I sit back and I'm getting ready to squat. And usually after I hear the squat signal, I go, and then go. I go, and there was nothing. I'm like, I gotta go. So I go down and come up, and literally after that happened, I just fall over backwards and pass out. I got the bar racked, and then I just literally, boom, I fall over backwards and pass out. And when I was teaching at the time that happened, I was at CV, and I was in this editing room making a video. I was trying to launch my own website, and these kids saw me working on it. Well, I forgot to log out. I'll leave and go back and teach my class. And back then, every teacher had a TV in their room, and we would do the announcements in the morning with the flag salute, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, after the flag salute, we have this special presentation for you from Mr. Mikesell. I'm like, what? I didn't do anything. And they played that on the whole video. They saw me pass out. I could hear the roar of the kids all the way down the hallway. Like, look at him pass out. I mean, literally go backwards, feet up over my head. It was so embarrassing. Kids loved it.
That's funny. You could be like, I squat more than all you put together. Don't you laugh?
Yeah, it was good times.
Man, that is pretty funny. That's great. What's your biggest gym pet peeve?
Plates. I hate being on a machine anywhere, and then someone takes plates off my rack. It's like, dude, you realize I'm on this rack. This is my rack at the time. Don't come over and take a 45, even a 5. Leave it alone, or at least ask. That's my biggest thing. When 20, 30 years ago, gyms used to have common racks where everybody would just go grab a weight and then go to where and then put it back. Now they're all built with racks on them. So there's plates everywhere, and people just come and take plates off. They're like, I got all these things here for me, and now you're just taking them.
Yeah.
I've literally had people. I had one kid about 6 weeks ago. I was doing a Smith machine squat, which I rarely do, but I was doing it this day. And I don't remember what I had I think I had 400 or something. I don't remember what it was. And I'm sitting down, and I'm getting ready to wrap my knees to do this next set. And I look up, and this kid takes a plate off each side, but I didn't even notice he had done it yet. I go, well, what are you doing? Oh, I didn't realize you were going. Really? You didn't see that? So I don't. That's just me. I don't. That's my pet peeve. I can't stand it when people take plates off of stuff that you're using.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like sometimes if there's only a few places to grab plates, and I look at the person, I'm like, okay, 120-pound male, He has 10s on the side, and it's a struggle. I'll go ask him if I can borrow. I'm like, hey, can I go use that 45?
Yeah.
But if I see some huge dude, like if I were to see you, and there's 2 plates and it's easy, and there's another plate, I'd be like, he's probably going to use those. I'm not going to ask him. I'm not going to ask him. Just be like, you know what? He's going to use them.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. What fitness trends annoy you the most? This could be current or this could be back in the day.
Well, trends. I don't know if they call it a trend. All the girls in yoga pants drive me freaking crazy.
Yeah.
It's not really a trend, right? It's just, I don't know where the explosion where that started, but the cool thing about it is I see more girls in the gym now than I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's
Back
true.
in the day, it was mostly men. And I think the stereotype, is starting to break down finally that you guys are all meatheads, and that's what, we have this, for some reason, in the 80s and 90s, everyone thought we were stupid.
Yeah.
We're not stupid people. We're very intelligent people. We do what we do, but just because we like to lift doesn't mean we're dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that stereotype is broken down, and more women are in the gym now. But the yoga pant thing has just gone crazy. And I got to be honest, I'm married, but it's a distraction.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah.
I would like to see it go away a little bit, and then what's another thing? You ever heard of the gym alpha male?
Yeah.
There's so many guys that want to be alpha males, and they're just not. They're just not. But the thing is you get older, like you get to be my age, they automatically assume because of age that I'm not in the running for alpha male, and I am.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, I will beat you. But so I don't know. That's probably one of the things in 40 years of lifting. There's always been that. Who's the strongest, baddest ass in the gym? And I've always wanted to be that guy. That's what motivates me. But I'm not that guy anymore. But I'm close. I'm close, but I'm not that guy. But don't underestimate me because of my age.
Yeah.
And so, well, I don't know, fitness trends. I think it's more like gym attitudes and stuff people wear, and I don't even call this a fitness trend. Another pet peeve, you already asked this before, is people are always on their freaking phones in between sets.
Yeah.
You'll see me on my phone rarely working out because I've videoed something and I want to see it, and I want to see if I did it right, and I want to see how much time it took me. Other than that, I'm not on my phone texting people and check it. Insta talk is, all these people, I don't understand, man. It makes no sense to me, but that's a big, huge thing for me. I wouldn't call it a fitness trend, but another pet peeve that drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, social media is so big nowadays. You and I had this conversation the other day. Like, I'm like struggling to push myself to post things.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fight. Whereas a lot of kids now, it's just grow up, and it's literally just part of who they are.
Right.
Social media is just like a thing, and I didn't even have social media till I was 18.
Oh wow!
So yeah, which is still even late for my age. I'm 28.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids my age still had it when they were a little bit younger. But yeah, it's like a fight for me to get to be on my phone and post something.
Well, and the thing is like, you're humble. I think I'm pretty humble, and I like guys like that. I think that we post things that we're not. In other words, we're not tooting our horn all the time. Guys who are constantly tooting their horn about how good they are, you're really not that good if you have to do that. To be honest. Now, like these Colton Ingebrigtsen and guys like that, when you're the best in the world, I guess you can toot your horn. You know what I'm saying?
It's like there's always someone better until you're the one.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like maybe in the future, but for right now, I mean, for you squatting 20 years ago, there's always someone better. Really? Who? Because I kind of have the world record, Yeah. So.
But again, even with that, after a while, that goes away too. I did 11.4. I think the world record now is 13 something, and I saw that, and it was a joke. It was awful. It was a 3-inch squat.
Yes, that's the one I think I saw earlier that I was telling you about, where I was like 3 inches down, and I was like, this is why I don't know that powerlifting. This is one of the reasons I don't know that powerlifting could ever be an Olympic sport, because there's so many federations, and you look at the standards, and the USAPL does a phenomenal job, as we were talking about. But man, some of these where it's like a 3-inch squat gets white lights, and the whole comment section roasted into death. Which obviously it's important to be kind, but I'm glad that everyone was calling them out.
Right.
And the judges, because like the judges are the ones who gave him the lights.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's the judge's fault. And like I said, that was one of the reasons why I quit. Is there was no like real standard of how to be a judge, and they just show a lot of them back in the day, especially in the East. It was common here too, but guys would just sit in the chair and judge their friends. Oh, that looks good to me. And no, you have to have someone that's certified, been experienced, someone who can be neutral and be able to say no, you didn't get it, because that's hard to do. I mean, every NBA basketball official and NFL hates to throw the flag or blow the whistle because 50% of the people hate you immediately.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the way it goes.
Yep. Yeah. I hate reffing.
No, I don't
wrestling.
like doing it.
I did reffing for a wrestling camp. It was a camp where you had 20 schools get together, and they had 10 matches per day for 2 days. So I think it ended up being like 19 matches because there's 20 schools, and I reffed a big chunk of the matches. One of the worst experiences of my life.
Right.
Never did it again. Never will do it, because I felt like as I overcorrected one way incorrectly, I was like, or I did one thing incorrectly, I kind of overcorrected then, and it like, granted it was my first time, so I'm sure a lot of people go through this, but they decide to stick through it. I just couldn't. And then all of a sudden I had to ref one of my brother's matches. Dude, that was tough. I'm not even going to share the experience that happened there, but it was really difficult and really weird. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad to not be doing that ever again.
The thing though, but from doing that, the experience probably left you with like, you have a different whole level of respect for people that do
so
it.
much more respect. I'm like, man, I'm not going to be ripping on them like I did, because there's people, they're just dudes, you know, they just live in life, and then they are reffins for part of it.
I learned that the hard way too, and so with experience and age comes wisdom, right? And so I try not to do the same thing. It's tough. I don't want to do it either.
Yeah. Now just 2 questions left. The second to last. If you could train with one athlete, dead or alive, but you bring him back if they're dead, who would you train with?
Wow. The first person that comes to mind would be Bill Kazmaier, even though he just passed away. Didn't he? Didn't he just pass away last month? No, he didn't. Sorry. That was a rumor. Sorry, that was a rumor. I was told that. I was like, and I found it wasn't true. But sorry, Bill. You're never going to hear this, but anyways, Bill Kazmaier would be 1, and Brian Shaw would be 2, and neither one. Well, Shaw doesn't have a powerlifting background, but Bill definitely does. And I met Bill in 2000. I don't know what year it was, 2 or 3. I did an exhibition downtown, and got on a cover of a magazine for that. That was cool. But I met him, and that was an experience. I watched him roll up a frying pan. I'd never seen that before with his bare fingers, and that was impressive, right? And nice. I shook his hand, and it's funny when you meet Bill Kazmaier. Here, the guy was 3 times world's strongest man.
Yeah.
He purposefully gives you the limp wrist. You think he would just absolutely. So I give him this. I try and crush his hand because I know he's going to crush mine, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Dude," he goes, "I have thousands of people trying to crush my hand and tell him, show me how strong they are." He goes, "I don't even deal with anyone." He goes, "I just offer my hand like this because I don't want." And it's just like limp toast, right? It's like, oh man. So it'd definitely be Bill Kazmaier, number 1, and number 2 would probably be Brian Shaw, just because I think I have a lot of respect for what he's done.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best. He's definitely the best American strongman of all time, and he's got a case for GOAT status.
Yeah.
He's probably number 2 in all reality, but I mean, second greatest of all time in your sport. That's pretty nuts. I wonder how he would have done in powerlifting. That would have been interesting.
It would have.
Because I've seen him do a 500-pound bench, which at his size, it was basically a close grip because it was on the normal rack with like not a bench bar that's a little bit longer. It was really a 500. I don't know what he could squat, but his best deadlift, I think, it was like 1,000. Oh man, it was like low 1,000s, low mid 1,000s.
So in powerlifting, he'd definitely be in the 8s for sure.
Yeah,
maybe higher. I don't know, because you don't know about the grip and you don't know. No hitching, different,
Yeah, the hitching would be interesting to see. I know his grip is legend status.
Right.
But obviously, how does it translate exactly to changing your deadlift form? I think good for him, but maybe not.
He probably would have been a 900-pound, I would think. I think
Yeah.
that's probably pretty safe. He'd probably do 900, 5 something, and probably, I got to believe he's over 8. And that's maybe 8 or 9 raw.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. He's got what we call the beer can physique.
Yeah.
Beer can physique makes you squat.
Yes.
If you think of it, if you hold the bottom of a beer can, you try and take the top of it and twist it over, it doesn't twist very easy. But if you take it and you squish it like an hourglass, it goes right over.
Yeah.
That's the triangle. Those are the bodybuilders, right? They don't have that beer can in the middle.
Yeah.
And guys that have that, they don't. The reason they squat so much is because they don't get tipped over. They go straight down and they go straight up.
Yep. Yeah. It's true.
Shaw would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be cool to train with him. And final question. If you could give your beginner self one piece of advice, what would it be?
You're going to laugh. You won't believe this. Do something different.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, yeah, definitely not what I expected.
No. Do one thing different. Well, okay, so I'll say this. Is when I, at my age now, everybody's like, was it worth it? Everything you sacrificed, everything you went through, was it worth it? Because I've got some health problems I'm dealing with. I did get divorced from my wife, and we're back together now. I did see my house split up because I was never gone or never home, and so everyone says, "Would you do it again?" And 10 years ago, the answer was yes. Now the answer is no. I would have done something different. I would have been home more. I would have sacrificed. I would have quit even sooner, and never. I don't know. I still think I have a great relationship with my wife and my kids, but I was not a very good dad and a very good husband when I first started, and that's probably the greatest regret that I have about my career. But again, to be at that level, you have to sacrifice, and you get caught up in it, and you have this super massive goal of like, I can do this. I can do it. I just need a little bit more time. Well, next thing you know, that turns into years instead of months, and after a while, the people that love you get ignored. And so for me, if my advice would be, it wouldn't be my beginner self, it would be my younger self. Like you need to stop being so selfish, and put this away, and just be an average guy. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's so hard to be average.
Yeah,
it's so hard to be average. And my mother actually called me out on that. She was the one that actually led to my retirement. I just got in an argument with her one day, and she's like, I can see it in your wife's face. I can see it in your kids. You're selfish. You need to quit competing. And literally within a month, I was done. She was the one that saved me.
Wow.
Saved our family. Yeah, so that would be my advice: is your family comes first, no matter what, and you can lose track of that and lose sight of it really, really easy when you're on top. And that's how I think you see some of these guys that make huge money and are stars. Is why is the divorce rate so high? Because it's all about you. I remember. I don't know if anybody listening knows. Jay Cutler, probably one of the most famous bodybuilders ever. And I remember him saying back in the day, my wife and I have this arrangement that when I'm done, competing, it's all going to be about her because right now it's all about me. Well, he ended up getting divorced. And it's like, it's so hard to be all about you. And a marriage and a family is not that. And so for me, I've learned the hard way is you got to find balance. That's the key to being a good person, because when you leave this planet, no one's going to remember what records I did. They're going to just remember. My kids are going to remember, was he there when I needed him, and did he love me, and did he take care of me, and stuff like the same with my wife.
Yeah,
that would be what I would say.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty powerful and thought-provoking. It applies to everybody. Whether it's playing too many video games, sitting on top of the world, focusing on your own interests.
Yeah.
It's really good advice. Most important things, your family.
It's tough though. It's intoxicating to be there, and it had been a sport that I had been making money at and been really super famous at. It would be even harder.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast,
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
I was so stoked to have you. Been thinking about this for a week, so
thanks,
to
man.
have you in here and talk to you for an hour, that was great. So thank you.
Thank you for guys listening and putting up with me.
Perfect. Hey, we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right, bye.